Yeah, let's go over to the Netherlands, have an update on the Alex Pertsev case, which we last left this case in limbo, right? Alex Pertsev is a Russian developer for Tornado Cash privacy protocol. He was placed in jail awaiting trial for a few different alleged crimes revolving around the laundering of Tornado Cash Ether. But as of this morning, we found out that they are going to allow him to be free under house arrest with an ankle monitor until the trial occurs. Now, free, I guess it's better than a jail cell for sure, but this is still like a very frustrating case for anyone who's paying attention to the crypto regulatory scheme. Zach, I want to throw this one over to you, get your take on it. Pretty encouraging note this morning, but still not the case that people want.
Yeah, this is something that I think the crypto industry had long been attuned to, right? Like, okay, Sam Bankman-Fried is chilling at home while Alex Pertsev is sitting in a jail and he's yet to be charged, right? So I think that this is at least a step in the right direction toward, the pursuit of justice, I guess, here, right? Fair and equal treatment under the state of the law is something that I think had been a bit lacking on this one. So the idea that this is proceeding with a bit less onerous restrictions on this person's freedom is probably a good thing while the courts resolve what's going to shake out here. They're alleging that, this team was sort of active and complicit in the money laundering that was happening on this platform, right? This is probably less in the eyes of the court about the free speech related to writing open source code and more about, token issuance and lifestyle choices by some of the founders of this platform that suggested that they may have been more involved in some of the more nefarious deeds that were taking place on Tornado Cash, as opposed to it just being a neutral privacy tool. So this may ultimately shake out poorly for these teams, but I think it is seemingly a bit more fair that this person can be quote unquote freed and out of detention until this gets resolved by the courts. I don't know, Jen, I got to toss it to our resident legal expert, Jen Sanasi. What do you think here? Is this due process being served, or what do you think?
Well, when I read the story, I was like, oh my gosh, it's been almost a year and he's still sitting in jail. And I did immediately think, like, SBF is sitting at home with his flip phone. So it is nice to see that he is going to get to go home to his family, see his family, and await this trial. I need to celebrate the executives at Coinbase in this story. Chief Legal Officer Paula Grahl was on Twitter earlier this month, kind of breaking down what's happening in this case. I know Coinbase is supporting, I think, 6 people who are challenging the US's sanction against Tornado Cash. And this story reminded me of a Twitter thread he published. I think it was at the beginning of April. And they're so good at just breaking down what's going on, why people should care, and why people need to get behind what's going on in the courts if we want to see the industry move forward. So I just think everyone should go and read that Twitter thread. I think this is good. I think I'm going to reserve my comments on this until it gets to court, because Zach, regardless of what this is actually about, regardless of if at the core of this is actual nefarious action, I think it's just going to be bad for the industry overall. Will, do you have something to add there?
Yeah, I'll add a few thoughts here. So Pertsev, for those who have not been paying attention to the case, was arrested, I believe, in last August after Tornado Cash protocol was sanctioned by OFAC. The Dutch authorities decided that as a developer of the code base here, he was culpable in some sort of way. At least the prosecutors are alleging that. It seems, looking at the information we have on the ground from the prosecutors, what they are alleging seems to be changing back and forth a little bit. And now it's moved towards the fact that they're saying that they've laundered up to 500,000 ETH through the protocol. And they're saying that because Pertsev developed the code base, well, he's culpable for laundering those funds. And as we all know, those funds were often used for moving around North Korean linked Ether, which was then used to fund its nuclear program. So this is a lot on the line, obviously, but from a crypto development standpoint, this is code. This was a dApp launched on the Ethereum blockchain that could run by itself. And the only linkage between Alex Pertsev and the other people at the Tornado Cash protocol team and the Tornado Cash protocol itself was the fact that they built this code and then launched it and spun it off. But if you look at the facts on the ground and understand how these things work, it was just self-existing, right? A dApp has the ability to continue operating itself. It doesn't need any developer once the code is published on chain. So I think this will be very instructful, I should say, for how laws and how lawyers and how government officials look at decentralized applications. Obviously, this is like a lot on the line here, but there's going to be like future cases that this one will sort of lead into. Zach, give it to you for last thoughts.
Yeah, big one. Definitely got the sector up in arms, right? If open source code can be prosecuted in this respect, then that's really bad for what people are trying to make, which is just tools that people can use. Sometimes those usages run afoul of the current understanding of what's good and what's bad.